It's official. The World Martial Arts Tournament is around the corner. Earthlings are lining up to participate in the ultimate test of their martial arts prowess, but this event is not happening on the PvP server. No, it's happening on the elusive and mysterious roleplay server. And I feel that storyteller's urge within you. You want to join and tell the story of your own Dragon Universe character alongside others. You want that prime character development. You want those badass moments that really make you feel the exaggerated swagger of a Yasai teen. Screw Red M, screw D&D. You want to be a part of the best roleplay experience ever created, and I'm here to introduce you the rules and systems you'll need to have your best first RP wipe. I'm Val, and I've been on DURP longer than I've been able to form independent thought. This is the none-awaited, never-asked-for Dragon Universe Roleplay Guide. Dramatic sound, cut to black. To start, there are a few differences between the RP server and the PvP server. The most obvious are the skills. Skills are a lot more highly restricted in RP, mostly to keep balance intact and not have one race significantly outplay another. Don't be surprised when you're not immediately going to be able to pick up Godfist and pretend you're the shit. You're not. With a tighter supply on skills, it's a real test of your ability to think outside the box. Special skills are available to players via ranks who are also other players who play certain roles like the Earth Guardian or King of Vegeta. These ranks are there to help players progress the plot and reward those who are doing a good job in character. You will also be provided 3 mutations throughout your character's life and a fighting style. These will be based on your total accumulated roleplay points, also known as passive RPP. Mutations are exclusive to the RP server, basically acting as extra buffs to flesh out your character's build. A full guide is on the official Dragon Universe Roleplay Discord server. That is also in the description. Thank you, YouTube, for finally approving my goddamn driver's license. RPP is basically a system that replaces Z points and special SP from the PvP and allows you to buy higher tier skills and passives from the RP shop. To gain more RPP, simply RP with your fellow players. That simple. At a certain point, your active or regular RPP will hit the daily cap, but you can still continue to accrue more for the passive RPP benefits, and you will get an automatic deposit of whatever you accrued up to the next daily cap. Now, there is also a cooking mechanic, but I'm not sure if that got fixed yet. Basically, to gather food, you just hit the RP exclusive gather command. Different tiles will net you different ingredients. You can also hunt down an NPC if they're active that wipe, or harvest from a corpse of a fallen adversary. Cannibal type shit. Rules are important in any game. Remember, this is overglorified D&D with a PvP system, so you have to keep the D&D mentality. Full disclaimer, if you aren't down to follow these very simple rules, your ass is getting banned. And if there's no admins online, well, you better hope I'm not either. We're going to go over some basic rules here, and these are all subject to change at some point. So in order to access the full rules website, simply go to the Dragon Universe Roleplay Discord and click on the rules channel. Pretty easy. There are more rules here than there are in this video, so please check it out. This video's goal is to help you get started and not be completely lost when it comes to the regular everyday situations, so you can hop in and learn everything else. OOC, or out of character, refers to the players themselves instead of the character that they play. It's important to make a distinction between Val the character and Val the crackhead. This works both ways as well. You can be a Frieza tier genocidal maniac as your character and be the sweetest, kindest, most amazingest person out of character, or vice versa. I don't judge. But there are a few rules when it comes to conducting yourself out of character. Number 1, understand the barrier between IC, in character, and OOC, out of character. You are not your character, and the other players are not their character. If somebody attacks you, kills you, whatever, don't take it personally. You're part of the plot just like everyone else, and death really isn't that bad. Number 2, be pleasant. Just a general rule of life. Everyone's here to have a good time, including you, so don't be the one to make it a bad time. This rule does not apply to Jacko. Number 3, don't argue with admins in real time. Sometimes in the interest of everyone's time, admins will make Shitty decisions. It happens. Feel free to take it up decently with the team after the situation is over. Everyone gets frustrated at some point with anything, I get it. Sometimes getting through a situation is better than solving it right then and there and taking up everybody's time. The OOC rules are super basic. Even the official guide is unnecessarily lengthy to get the point across, but I wanted to put them up first because, well, you are yourself first and a Dragon Universe character second. If you properly conduct yourself out of character, you're more likely to be forgiven for mistakes that you made when in character. Speaking of in character, obviously this is the roleplay version of Dragon Universe. You'll probably want to do the selling point. I'll be breaking everything down and showing how all the rules work in real time closer to the end. Right now I just want to go over the basic guidelines. Number 1, do not metagame. Metagaming means using knowledge your character should not know to drive roleplay. No, you do not know what Saiyans are if you made a fucking Namekian. Number 2, ERP is prohibited. E-sex basically, just don't do it. Number 3, post an emote and a countdown, or CD, if you're leaving an area with active RP. We'll get to emotes and countdowns later, but active RP basically means a directly hostile situation or discussing plot. Most times people will not stop you unless you're absolutely relevant to their goals, but it's still best practice to post and count down rather than just ghost them. If it's a casual scene though, feel free to leave at your leisure. Number 4, no copying an existing character from pre-existing media. Let's say you want to play Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen. Well, great news, his name is Yaji now, and instead of being in high school, he's actually just from Baltimore. Number 5, no restricting players from roleplay. This constitutes trapping people in buildings or in space with no way out. With stun chips in the game, just take the prisoner and chip them, then let them back into the wild like a frickin' park ranger. Number 6, do not god mod. God modding is forcing another character to do something that they themselves did not write. You cannot speak for other characters, nor can you make them do actions to serve your own writing. Alright, that's a lot, and believe me, there is more. But like I said, we're just trying to ease our way into the flow of RP and get started quickly. All the other rules are extremely situational and not worth putting into a general guide, but they are definitely worth reading through. Alright, you're not here to yap all day. You want to throw hands. It's Dragon Universe after all. Okay, but there's still rules to engagement, and not one of my students is becoming a goddamn war criminal. We'll get to combat so soon, but since we're going to go to this play-by-play, we're in a perfect position to talk about formatting and writing your RP. There are 2 commands to communicate in character, or ICly. Say and emote. Say is super basic, functioning as a regular local chat. Use brackets when you want to say something out of character to the local area. It's super self-explanatory. If you ever want to strictly focus onto IC, there is an IC tab dedicated to only the local says and emotes. It will automatically filter out anything in brackets, called LOOC for short, or anything in the world chat that's just general OOC. Emotes should be familiar to MMO players. Using the emote command opens this text box and places a typing indicator over your character's head. For the sake of demonstrating, I kept this post short. A hostile post should be longer than this. As just a general rule of thumb, casual RP can be any length, but hostile posts should at least be 3 paragraphs or more. If you're writing shorter, at least make it something dense that respects the effort of both the other player and honestly, yourself. Using emote will cause the post to begin with your character's name and a space included, so keep this in mind. As you can see, I've written a continuation of the name along with a brief description of what I'm doing. Regular text in emote is considered descriptive text, meaning what your character is doing. Text wrapped in quotation marks are the words spoken by your character. As a general format, you should include what you are doing, why you are doing it, and how you're going to accomplish it. I'm going to hit send, and in a shorter version of what will normally be done, it still follows this mentality. The roleplay reads, Val is upset by Connie's stupid hair. He walks over and attempts to deliver a mean uppercut to his torso. I think your hair is stupid. Intent, temp internal. At the bottom you'll notice an intent. I marked this with equal signs, however you can mark this with brackets, parentheses, whatever. This is what clearly communicates to the other player that we are attempting to engage them in a hostile encounter and what injury I intend to give them as a result of the first round of combat. On the first KO, you can only give characters a temporary injury, more on that later. When a hostile is declared, you have 2 options. Fight back or flee. Flee is determined by using the flee and chase commands. These roll random numbers to determine if you are able to flee. If you roll higher than your opponent, you are free to flee or keep them in the scene if you chased. Please don't use this from keeping people from going to bed though, that's just rude as hell. Fighting back, you simply respond to the hostile post in the same format, which you can also include a hostile intent. Once both players are ready, one of them will start a countdown, usually around 20 seconds-ish, give or take. Just coordinate in local OOC to figure out who's starting the countdown. At the 5-second count, you are able to move and Zanzoken around, but you are not allowed to charge attacks, prepare attacks, power up, or otherwise until the countdown is over. Steel yourselves, PvP mains. These RPers hurt. After a victor is decided, the losing player receives whatever injury and gains 1 KO for the encounter. You and your opponent have a total of 3 KOs, and the first one to be knocked out 3 times is considered the loser. Now that this player has a KO, they are open to receive a permanent injury or be stolen from with the steal intent in the next round. Keep in mind the player who is still standing has yet to be KO'd and therefore cannot be permanently injured until they are. Don't worry though, the permanent injuries usually aren't actually that permanent. Heal to full, don't forget to use the also RP exclusive reset anger verb and run it again. After that, the player has received another KO and lost an organ because of it. Now we are arriving at the final round of combat, assuming this character loses again. In this, the current winner arrives at the big choice. There are multiple intents an opponent can do on the final round. If you have not previously had a hostile encounter with the character you are fighting, you are safe from being killed, but they can full cast you, putting all possible temporary injuries on an opponent. But if you have been in a hostile encounter beforehand, they have a few more options. They can simply kill you, they can steal a artifact from you, take you prisoner via stun chip, Mogenize you if they have it, and purify you of Mogenization if they are a godly being with that ability. And Vao's pretty cooked, so he's completely incapacitated and at the winner's mercies. Yeah. A few rules for when you're incapacitated, otherwise known as incapped. You are at the mercy of whatever your opponent tends to do. If that's kill you, rob you, put you in a full body cast, you're knocked out. You can't do anything. You are not considered back up until the encounter is fully over. Basically, once your opponent leaves or decides they're done beating you up. You can be healed, assuming you didn't die, which does give back a single KO and has a random chance of removing an injury, and a bonus one. Just because you're incapacitated does not mean you're knocked out. You are still 100% able to speak. You're just beaten up and can no longer continue fighting. And that covers everything. Like I mentioned, there are a lot more rules, but this guide will be enough to conduct yourself in most general circumstances. This guide is also for players who are new to RP or Dragon Universe in general and would like to jump in without having to read a full manifesto. If you are newly discovering Dragon Universe, be sure to check out my beginner's guide if you're having trouble with the new player information overload. Sometimes a quick start guide is enough, you know? Also, my girlfriend says she will force the admin team to unban P-bags on the RP server if I get a lot of subscribers, so hit that button and show Big DU who's boss.